What's up, Dallas? It's your girl Rachel. I am back with another amazing guest on my show, Mr. Pat Hodges. How are you, sir?
Good. Doing very well.
Awesome. I'm so glad to have you on my show today. And for our viewers out there, we have been touching base via email and messenger because he has a very powerful testimony and he's getting the opportunity to speak to you about what has happened in his life. So Pat, I know this is like a one of those subjects where a lot of people may not get it, but for those who actually do get it, I feel like the message is there and they need to hear it. So can you tell them how God has revealed himself to you?
Yeah. Well, it started real way back when I was 5 years old. That's when I accepted Jesus into my heart and that kind of thing. And I've been raised in church. But we just I was raised in denominational, very traditional denominational. And there wasn't a lot of growth there. And then slowly, when I was a teenager, the Lord really started because I was dealing with suicide and all this stuff because of certain circumstances in my upbringing. There's a lot of pain and that kind of thing. But anyway, so what I was facing was I knew I needed a real intervention from the Lord, you know. And so uh, through a series of events that actually happened. And the Lord started showing me as I started praying, the Lord started showing me how this suicidal spirit was working on me and how it was affecting me. And so I found out that it was kind of wild because it just kind of took me systematically through this process, and the Lord began to show me how this thing would cycle, this depression would cycle. And then
Mm,
he began to start showing me how to actually get rid of it, how to deal with it, how to conquer it. And
mhm,
so I did. And that was a process of probably about a year, something like that. And
mhm,
ever since I was little, I'd always had a keen interest in Bible. I would sit there and real upset with my mom. Why do I have to go to school? All I want to do is go to Bible school. I mean, as a kid, that's all I wanted to do. Didn't want to do anything else. And so my chance happened, and it took place, and I got to go to Bible school and learned a lot there and that kind of thing. Um, and from there and on, my spiritual walk really radically changed. I mean, drastically for the better. And but then life, life goes on, and you go through situations that constantly test your faith. Uh, God will test your, well, I shouldn't say God will test your obedience. He will test, he's not going to test your faith. He will test your obedience though. You know,
mhm,
Satan will come and test your faith. But I went through all that, and as the years progressed, um, there were times when I had situations in my life that uh, I just didn't know how to manage, didn't know how to handle, except really run to the Lord. I mean, run to the Lord. And I did. And but it was this thing of when things are going pretty good, I wasn't as pressing into the Lord as much.
mhm,
A lot of people do that and that kind of thing. And then when I really started getting involved in ministry, that changed drastically. Um, I began to study the word a lot more. I began to really press into what the Lord had for me and that kind of thing. Um, and part of that was just learning and doing the work of the ministry and that kind of thing. And so through that time, I was still dealing with a lot of rejection issues, a lot of severe rejection issues. There were people in my life that I loved dearly, but I would keep it at arm's length, you know,
Mhm.
including my wife. That's not a good, never a good thing to do when you keep your spouse away arm's length. And it wasn't good, just was not. Um, and so there was a lot of times when I made wrong decisions because of it. I found that rejection was beginning to make my decisions for me. And that's not the way to go, obviously. And so I began to pray. And over a process of time, the Lord began to show me how to yield to Him so that He could do the work in my heart that needed to be done to get rid of, help start the process of getting rid of those rejection issues. Those things don't, they're not built overnight and they're not disassembled overnight. You know,
Mhm.
that's what it boils down to. And so it was a process that the Lord started. And through that time that I was in, He began to deal with me and show me how to dismantle that out of my life. And sometimes He'll take us in phases or stages, and He did that a lot with me, you
Mhm.
know. Because I mean, the first person I'd ever meet, if I ever met somebody that I had never met before, all my guard was already up before it was automatic. I wouldn't even think about doing it, just automatically there. Um,
Mhm.
and that's not good when you're in ministry because you got to be able to be real with people when you're in ministry.
Mhm.
You got to be able to connect with people when you're in ministry and that kind of stuff. And so that's one of the reasons why He put me in the pastorate, where the Lord put me in the pastorate for 10 years in Houston, was to deal in those areas that I needed. And
Mhm.
I'd tell him, I said, look, I said, I'm not pastoring for you guys. The Lord doesn't have me in the pastorate for you. He's got me in the pastorate for me, you
Mhm.
know? And it was very true, you know?
Mhm.
And, there's two that want you dead. There's Satan so he can just get rid of you. And then there's God that wants you to do some dying so he can use you, you
Mhm.
know? And
Yeah.
He was working on me in that area. And
Mhm.
it was a process that recently, because of what I went through recently, I really got some major changes in that area. So
Mhm. And that's there's a lot of profound things that you were saying. Like you were saying that Satan wants you dead for number one, to stop what God is calling you to do first and
mhm,
foremost. Number
yeah.
two, we have to die to ourselves daily in order for God
Mhm.
to go to work on us. And that's the type of death that he's talking about. Because Paul talks about it all the time in the Bible, that we're supposed to die to ourselves daily in order
Sorry
to
about
do.
that.
I do want to thank you for your transparency.
Yeah.
Because there's already a lot that I'm grasping from this conversation. Um, Also the fact that you have gone through like a series of God going to work on you about things that everybody struggles with. But everybody's struggle is like a personal struggle. So when you were saying that you were going through some stuff even recently, um, what what was that struggle that you were going through? The one that really revealed itself to you?
Yeah, I September of 2021, September 12th, my dad had passed away 7 days before of just complications from chronic heart failure. Um, that's not the right name, but whatever it is. Congestive heart failure. That's what it is. Um, and so 7 days later, literally, um, I find myself, I've got the real bad COVID that was going around that everybody had. Um, I had been basically pretty much running myself into the ground because of work. There were days I was working 34, 36-hour days. Wasn't taking care of myself. As a result, I wasn't eating right and that kind of thing. But so that, I think that's what contributed greatly to the diverticulitis that I developed. I didn't even know I had. So I'm sitting at home and I went in to take a shower and I just about passed out in the shower and I thought, yeah, I got the COVID. I mean, I was really, my vision went black and I was seeing stars and I thought, man, I'll just wait till my wife gets home. So I went and lay down on the bed. I fell asleep. When I woke up, my abdomen was just killing me. And I was like, something really wrong here. And by then Misty had gotten home. And so I remember going in the bathroom and then I passed out. And when I woke up, uh, I was laying in a pool of blood because I landed flat on my nose, I guess. And what had happened,
Mhm.
she heard me and called 911. I wasn't able to stand up. I had to crawl back to the bed. They came and got me. I get to the hospital. The next thing I know, I'm being rushed into the ER. They're prepping me for emergency surgery because they'd taken CAT scans and found out what happened. And basically, my colon had ruptured. When that happens, all that poison that's in your intestines goes in straight into your body and your bloodstream. And so the infection just spreads throughout your whole body. And they rushed me into surgery. That surgery wound up failing 2 days, probably 1 or 2 days later. I wound up going back into emergency surgery. During this process, at some point, they told my wife they didn't think they could save me. To get ready for the worst. And at some point, I literally left my body and wound up going into heaven and saw it. It's there. It's as real as you and I on this podcast or me sitting here and on this computer looking at you. Doesn't get any more real than that. And I had an encounter with the Lord at that point. And he told me what I had to change in my relationships, what I had to do in as far as ministry goes, get back into it and start ministering to people in a whole different way than what I was used to doing. And so with that, um, it seemed like a long monologue. His first question to me was, do I have your attention now? Because he'd been trying to get my attention for 13 years.
Mhm.
And I've been in disobedience for 13 years.
Mhm.
Because I had taken myself out of ministry because of some stuff that happened. And he kept tapping me on the shoulder. You need to go back. You need to go back. And I kept doing the ignore thing. And so when I said yes, that started this monologue, this long monologue from him. And he brought that sort of truth. Now, the interesting thing, it was a correction. But you know what? There was not a bit, not even a hint of frustration, not a hint of anger, not a hint of condemnation.
Mhm.
There was not a hint of condescension,
Mhm.
none of it. The only thing that came with it was this uh, overwhelming, unconditional love. That's all I felt coming from him when he was giving me all this.
Mhm.
This total unconditional love. And people, we really don't, we're not raised, a lot of us are not raised in unconditional love. I certainly was not. Um, and So a lot of times we don't understand what that really looks like until we experience it,
Mhm.
you know? And I had experienced bits and uh, a little bit here and there through my Christian walk, but not like that, not on that level, you
Mhm.
know? And the confidence in his voice, when he talked to me, the confidence in his voice was like, you're going to finish your race. You've got nothing to worry about. Um, James, James 1, if you go there and you do a word study on it, he says, rejoice when you fall into different trials, knowing that the trying of your faith works patience. Well, that word patience there means maturity or a mature faith. It causes your faith to mature. A lot of people, they don't understand. They don't need more faith. All they need to do is learn how to mature in the faith they've got.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, and I used to pray for it myself. Lord, I need more faith. No, it's not. It's what you're doing with the faith you have.
Mhm.
Okay. The
Mhm.
word talks about the grain of a mustard seed in relationship to faith. Well, mustard seed will actually grow into a tree. It's the smallest, tiniest of seed, but it grows
Mhm.
into this huge tree. Okay.
Mhm.
And the key is not, well, I just got a little bit of faith. That's not the issue. It is what happens to that faith as you learn to walk in faith, and then you take it and I just recently did a teaching on this. He expects us to at some time transfer or transition into trust. Well, what is trust? Trust is committed faith.
Mhm.
Trust is where you put yourself on the line,
Mhm.
right? Your
Yeah.
belief. You're not
Mhm.
just out there any longer just doing the good things because the word commands you to, right?
Mhm.
Somebody put it this way. Faith is saying, yes, I believe Jesus can walk that tight wire with that wheelbarrow and make it across the other side. The trust part is getting in the wheelbarrow and letting him push you on that high
Mhm.
wire to the other side.
Mhm.
Chicken is involved in the breakfast, but the
Mhm.
pig is committed.
Mhm.
And that's what he's talking about, putting yourself in the hands of
Mhm.
God. Okay.
Mhm.
And when I went years ago, I went and ministered in Nigeria, and people were this was right after 9/11. And the greeting we got was a big banner, kill all Americans, as we were going down the highway. And we knew who was behind it before they ever let it out on American news because his picture was everywhere. He was a hero in that area we went to. And I had to come to that place where if I came back in a pine box, I was going to be okay with it
Mhm.
because I knew what the Lord had told me to do. I knew what He was sending me into,
Mhm.
and I had to come to that place of trust. That's what I had to do.
Mhm. Yeah.
So going back to the heavenly encounter, again, I had to bring myself back to that place of trust. Okay, allowing
Mhm.
Him to do the work in my life, do the work in my heart, make the changes that needed to be changed because He had put people in my life that I flat was holding at arm's length because of trust issues. Well, I found
Mhm.
this out when you were under the sword of truth that's being wielded by the Lord, it brings change. And I didn't know I was getting set free, healed, and delivered in different areas of my life when this was
Mhm.
going on until I was started coming into coherency from all the surgery and everything. And I realized there were things in me that had really drastically changed very, very, very much. I wasn't trying to bring the change. It happened by itself. But the word says you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. Well, that only works if you embrace the truth.
Mhm.
Hearing the truth is not enough. I'd heard the truth all my life. But I had an encounter with the truth. When you have an encounter like that, yeah, it'll change you drastically.
Mhm. Yeah. Like for your experience, like when God revealed to you in heaven that you needed to make some changes. Of course, it's pushing towards truth, but you were struggling with some stuff before this encounter as a minister. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah,
So you were you I'm just gonna say like maybe if somebody was just like talking to you, like one of our viewers, like were you ministering because it was like a duty, or were you ministering before like it was your passion? Because some ministers do that because it's a
yeah.
duty.
No, I wasn't really ministering out of duty.
Hmm.
I just wasn't doing it with my whole heart.
Mm. Okay,
Does that make sense?
that makes
Okay.
perfect sense.
Okay. When
Mhm.
the Lord explained it to me this way. When you're rejecting the body, you're rejecting him. I had never seen that before. The word
Mm.
actually says, in as much as you've done it to the least of these, you've done it unto me. Now we
Mhm.
take a look at that scripture. It talks about, uh, putting clothes on somebody. It talks about feeding the poor, taking care of people. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I didn't know this until he explained it to me. If you've rejected the least of these, you rejected me.
Mm.
And that was an eye-opening revelation to me, very
Mhm.
much.
Yeah.
And I actually went back when I got back on my feet, got out of the hospital and got back on my feet after being on my bed for over a year. Um, and I had four subsequent surgeries that I had to go through after that.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know how I did it, but in the middle of all that, I actually went on two cruises. Go
Mhm.
figure. Half the time
Right.
I felt like I was going to die, but I did anyway. I had to get out of that bed. Doctor thought I was crazy, but I did it anyway. Um,
Mhm.
but anyway, so um, when he gave me that, showed me that about that rejection thing, that I was actually also rejecting him. It explained a whole lot of things.
Mhm.
Why I kept running into this block in my spiritual walk
Mhm.
that I did not understand.
Mhm.
And I had to learn to drop all excuses. Okay. A lot of times we're not seeing God move in our lives the way we want to because we got a whole bunch of excuses. Right.
That's true.
And I had to drop. The Lord showed me these are not reasons, they're excuses for being disobedient. And when I started dropping that, it got a whole lot easier. It just did.
Yeah. I can
So
see how that whole thing would change you. Like when you were saying that you were preaching, but you weren't preaching with your whole heart. And
yeah,
then like you said you were dealing with rejection over the
yeah.
course of your life. Uh, I think for me, that kind of speaks volumes to me because that's
Mhm.
something I had been battling for a really long time.
Yeah.
Um, it's like you want God in your life, but you're afraid of people like you've had a lot of rejection in church hurt,
Mhm.
people are really close to you. So it's hard to let people in because you keep getting hurt. So you're not
Yeah.
really following God's promise
Mm.
and
Well,
uh
see, here's
mhm,
something that might help you, Rachel. I learned there are people in your life that God sends for kingdom purposes.
mhm,
And I'm always asking the Lord, show me which ones those people are. Those are the ones that you really invest the time in. Okay.
Mhm.
At a church where we're ministering at now in Plano, Texas, pastor sat down with me one day. He says, "You know what?" He says, "The Lord's got us together for kingdom purposes. This goes way beyond you and me personally."
Mhm.
And he was right. I knew for a long time, right?
Mhm.
And I have found that discernment goes a long way. When you're forming new relationships, start asking the Lord, show me, is this a is this somebody that's going to waste my time? Are they there to get me distracted? Are they there
Mhm.
to rob me of my resources? Are
Mhm.
they there to be a casual friend? Are they there to be a uh, a very very intimate friend? I've got people in my life. I got guys in my life that I'm closer to than I ever was with my natural family. Okay,
Mhm.
these are kingdom friendships. Okay, and
Mhm.
some of them have been in my life for over 40 years. Now,
Mhm.
when I first met them, I had no idea what it was going to turn into. And now we minister together. You know, you
Mhm.
need people in your life. You need the Timothys in your life. You need those that you can speak into, and then you need the ones that are speaking into your life, right?
Mhm.
That was the biggest struggle for me, was allowing people to speak in my life because I didn't
Mhm.
trust anybody, right?
Mhm.
And I remember the day I prayed years ago, Lord, I built this prison and I'm the only inmate in here, and I'm giving you permission to just dismantle it. And that's when he started doing the work
Mhm.
of that, you know. The problem is we go through bad situations and we tend to project that on other people, or we project that on God.
Mhm.
I lived up hating and being afraid of my dad the entire time I was growing up. Um, and I was projecting that on God. I thought he was the
Mhm.
same way, and he's not.
Mhm.
Thank goodness before, when I became an adult, the Lord got a hold of my dad and changed him and changed me at the same time. And
Mhm.
then we had a good relationship. But I did not realize for a long time that I was looking at God the same way I was looking at my natural father.
Mhm. Yeah, we can't do that.
No.
God's love is so, like you said, it's unconditional, and
Yeah.
he just wants us to acknowledge his presence in our lives and
Yeah.
us to have a relationship with him. That's really all he
Yeah. It's
wants.
all about the relationship. If you don't have a relationship, you can have religion and no relationship. And a lot of people think religion's relationship, and it's not. It's completely different, you
Mhm.
know. And if you want to really grow, you've got to take it past religion.
Mhm.
You have got to really buckle down, get into the word, get into prayer. And prayer is not where you're doing all the talking.
Mhm.
Prayer is a lot of listening
Mhm.
and allowing him to speak,
Yeah,
show you
that's
things.
our pastor's wife. She said that she did a sermon over that, about that a conversation with God is not a monologue, it's a dialogue.
Yeah.
Because we are supposed to be listening to what God wants us to do in our lives
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
And but we can pray and have a prayerful mindset. We can talk to him like a friend, because with
Hmm.
all relationships, it's only going to grow closer if you continue to do it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people treat God like he's a genie in a bottle. That's not how that works. And he really wants our heart. He wants our time. He
No,
wants our
he's not a slot machine.
no. No.
A lot of people, they look at him as a slot machine. I was ministering to a Hollywood actor on the phone last night. If I said his
Mm,
name, you'd know who he was.
mm,
Got a phone call, and he's got religion, you
mm,
know, he's got religion.
mm,
And he says, "Yeah, I pray all the time, but it's religious. It's a religious. It's not a relationship, you know."
mm,
He prays to God, the way he puts it. Well, if you're praying to God, you don't have a relationship,
mm.
you know.
Yeah, talk to him.
Yeah,
Talk to him. Be
talk to
personal.
him, talk to him, right?
Mhm.
So,
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Like I'm really loving this interview. But I just have to ask you, so like with this experience that you have, is there a message that you want to get to the viewers out there that you feel like God specifically asked you to tell people?
well, we did a 4 week. I, I got so much out of that. What happened? I literally did a 4 week video series,
Mhm,
5 week video series on it, I think, something like that. It's a
mhm,
lot. Okay. Um, but yeah, basically it's this. Get, this whole thing about doing something for God, don't ever do that.
mhm,
Learn to work with him, not for
mhm.
him, right?
Yeah.
The if I could put it this way, servants work for God. His sons and daughters work with him. Okay. There's a big difference. Okay.
Mhm,
And you can do stuff all day long. You can do good works all day long for God, but that doesn't mean it's going to count for anything in the end. Okay. God's a family man. He's wanting family. He's wanting his family, right? That's what he
mhm,
wanted with Adam and Eve before the fall. He wanted a
mhm,
family relationship. That's what he's calling us back to, is family. And he's calling us back to family with one another also.
mhm,
We're in the year, and I just gave the word for the year. Part of that word was the Lord is wanting to bring back strong community in the body of Christ, because a lot of us have gotten so distant from one another because of, well, a lot of it happened during COVID, and people
mhm,
never have come back to um, that one-on-one face-to-face engagement as much as they had before. And the Lord's wanting to restore that to the body of Christ, what he's wanting to do, you know. And here's the other thing. Learn to love people where they're at, you know. You can't really help people until you learn to love them where they are. And I had to learn that because I really struggled in that area. And my whole attitude was, well, they've got such and such a position, they should know better. Well, sometimes people are in position, and God is using that position to try to grow them up and trying to get them mature and try to get them into a higher level. But we're expecting the end product before he's had a chance to do the work in them.
mhm.
Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense,
And I
actually.
did that all the time with people,
Mm,
you know. And I mean, even when I was pastoring, man, I made my share of mistakes. God would go out of his way to cover them, but I still made my plenty of mistakes,
mm,
and grew the wiser for it, learned from it, that kind of thing. Um, and yeah, some of the stuff I should have known better, but the Lord was working in me and developing my discernment and all this stuff, and it's a growing process. You know, ministry is a growing, is as much a growing and development process as anything.
Mhm. That
So,
that is true.
yeah.
I believe you pretty much hit it on the nail of everything that we need to work on. Um,
Mhm.
I think personally for me, I needed to hear this message because there's a lot of times that I'm very comfortable being by myself. Like
Mhm.
I spend time, talking to God. I talk with him and he talks back with me, but then maybe I hadn't embraced my church family as much as I should.
Yeah.
And because again, I have been afraid of letting someone come close to me or
Mhm.
letting someone know my story because of fear of rejection kind of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
me personally, I needed to hear this. I really did.
Yeah. I
I
mean, the Lord told me, don't wait till you get off of that bed before you start ministering. So when I got to the place of where I was halfway cognizant, I literally started ministering to the staff.
Mhm,
And they would come, the nurses and nurses assistants and all that, they would come during their breaks to get me to pray for them and minister to them. And I'm laying in bed with all these IVs in me and all this stuff. It was crazy, you know. And but the Lord removed the fear of man. He removed the fear of rejection.
mhm,
And when I started coming out from underneath the meds and everything and all that anesthesia and all that, all of a sudden I didn't care. I was no longer afraid to say anything to anybody,
mhm,
and led several to the Lord and all that stuff. I mean, it was like, wow, whole new thing
mhm.
for me.
I love it. I'm loving your testimony. I'm loving that you came onto my show to talk about it because
Mhm.
I know I need to hear it. I know somebody else out there needs to hear it
Oh
too.
yeah,
We need to get serious,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
serious than we are right now, for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You got
Mhm,
to get focused. A lot of people are stagnant because they've lost their focus, or
mhm,
maybe never had it in the first place. And
mhm,
so what we've got to do is ask the Lord, okay, Lord, what am I? You show me that I'm here for a reason. What is it? What's my purpose? And what am I supposed to be pursuing right now?
mhm,
When am I supposed to? There's a there is something that I'm supposed to be doing. What is it?
mhm,
And get focused. We get in trouble when we get distracted when we lose our focus,
mhm,
you know. And I lost my focus for a long time, 13 years of it.
mhm.
But I'm back in it now.
I love
So
that. I love that for you. It's a renewing of your whole heart, the
mhm.
way that God wants you, and I think that's a very beautiful message to put out there for everyone as well, as a reminder that God can renew your heart
Mhm.
even through the hardest circumstances. I'm just loving all of this. Thank you again for telling me all of this because I
Yeah,
I feel like it's a great message.
yeah,
Really is.
yeah.
And so, do you still do pastoring? You're pastoring at a church right now?
Well, I'm actually I'm on I'm one of the ministers in at the Yeshua House in Plano is
Mhm,
where I'm at. My wife and I, yeah, we minister there. They kind of rotate
mhm,
um, through the ministers because I mean we got a bunch of ministers. It's a
mhm,
really small church, but what it is, it's a church of leadership, is what it is. Or
mhm,
people that the Lord is calling them to leadership. I've been watching the ones that the Lord brings, and these people have all got leadership. They've got that leadership thing, and
mhm,
it's a we minister there, but we minister other places too. I mean, we travel. Um, been in 33 countries so far. Looks like going to Brazil next year, I think.
mhm,
That would be number 34. But yeah, so my wife and I, we minister um, probably about once or twice a month, something like that.
mhm,
You know, it all just depends on what's going on. So I'm we're part of the pastoral staff there, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm more of a teacher than even a
Mhm.
pastor,
Mhm.
right? And there's a big difference, you
Yeah,
know.
there's there's a big
If you ever
difference.
see a teacher's teacher, I
Mhm.
mean, these guys are incredible. They could teach, you know,
Mhm.
they can break it apart. They can take entire chapters, break it all apart and put it back to all together again and it really brings understanding. And I've been teaching for, well, since I was in my 20s.
Mhm.
So, and it's not
I love
just Sunday school stuff.
Mhm. I
Get
do.
into
It's
some meat.
yes, the meat. Thank you. I
Yeah,
know that, a lot of people are still on the milk of the
yeah,
word instead of the
yeah. They got
meat.
to graduate at some
They
point.
do. It's time to graduate, guys.
Yeah,
For sure. And then
yeah,
I heard you talking about your 5-week video series. Is that
yeah,
available for people to actually
yeah. That's on
watch?
YouTube. That's on YouTube. Now that's not, that's five full video. That's five. What it is 5 videos. We filmed when I normally doing the. I just had eye surgery, by the way. I'm recovering
Mhm.
from that, so I'm not really at the point of being able to read a whole lot because we just did this eye surgery. Detached retina is nothing to mess with, and
Mhm.
so they had to go in to do invasive eye surgery a few months ago, and I'm still recovering from that. But so yeah, we've got this channel called Two Witnesses Broadcast on YouTube,
Mhm.
and you can
Mhm.
find that on there. It's in the playlist.
Okay.
Uh, Pat's it's under Pat's visit to heaven or something like that. But anyway,
Mhm.
it's there. So what we normally do when we're doing videoing, we are working off of a an outline and all of that, and we do it every Saturday. I
Mhm.
haven't done it since I've had all this eye surgery stuff. Just the reading is not there yet, you know, working off of an outline. But
Mhm.
anyway, yeah, it's on Two Witnesses broadcast.
Okay. I'm gonna post the
Mhm.
link as soon as I post this video. I'm gonna make sure I get the link there at the bottom so people
Okay,
can click on it and watch it.
yeah.
I
We're also
I'm
on Facebook. Misty
Mhm.
and I, we've got our own ministry. We're transitioning because we're going to the next phase of ministry that the Lord told me to go. So we're shifting out of Omega Ministries International now to Eagle Vision Ministries International, and we've
Mhm.
already got the Facebook page up. So
Okay.
yeah,
I love that. Well, thank you again, Pat, for sharing your story with me. I really appreciate it.
yeah,
And all the viewers out there, please go follow Pat. And if you have any questions, I'm pretty sure he would love to answer them for you. And
yeah.
then
They can
also,
look me up. They can look me up on Facebook. You know,
Mhm.
they can
And
do
it's
that.
really him talking. Don't worry, it's really
Yeah,
him.
it's yeah, it's me. This is not AI.
Absolutely. All right. So this concludes our interview for right now. We'll probably be back with the follow up. But for everybody out there, please follow Pat. Please follow What's Up Dallas Magazine, providing all positive things in the community for you. We'll be back. Bye.
Thank you, Rachel.